What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Tsarukyan has officially fired back at Ilia Tapuria after Tapuria went on a heated rant during a Spanish interview. In that interview, Ilia claimed he is not afraid of Arman, labeled him a disappointment to the UFC, and argued that Tsarukyan does not deserve another opportunity after pulling out of a title fight. Arman did not stay silent. Responding on social media, he took a direct shot at the featherweight champion, saying that Ilia talks about taking time off to deal with family issues, yet somehow has plenty of free time to give interviews. Tsarukyan mocked him openly, calling him a joke and finishing the message with a sharp insult aimed directly at El Matador. Beyond the trash talk, this situation could actually work in Tsarukyan's favor. If Tapuria is unable to resolve his situation by spring, there is speculation that the UFC could force him to vacate the belt. The current plan reportedly has Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje fighting for an interim title in January. That scenario would allow Tsarukyan to avoid sitting on the sidelines for a year, and instead fight the interim champion for the undisputed title. As of now, nothing has been made official regarding Ilia Tapuria vacating the belt, and all discussions remain speculative. However, if this situation continues to drag on, it is widely believed the UFC will eventually be forced to step in and make a decision. Before Arman's response, Tapuria went on a lengthy rant explaining his stance. He said that Tsarukyan is a good fighter, but claimed he's repeatedly refused opportunities to compete. According to Ilia, pulling out of a world title fight is unacceptable, as all fighters deal with pain and injuries yet still show up. He questioned Arman's decision-making, mocked his resolve, and suggested fear played a role. Tapuria also criticized Tsarukyan's behavior outside the cage, pointing to a headbutt during a face-off as evidence of poor judgment. Speaking from a promoter's perspective, Ilia argued that when the UFC invests heavily in a fighter, and that fighter risks everything through irresponsible actions, trust is lost, and once that trust is gone, support disappears. Before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. The UFC welterweight division has just become even more chaotic after Carlos Prates revealed a major behind-the-scenes detail during a recent podcast appearance. According to Prates, Dana White personally promised him a title shot if he was able to knock out Leon Edwards. That revelation alone sent shockwaves through the division. But the timing has made things even more complicated. Just days earlier, UFC commentator John Anik revealed that Islam Makhachev versus Michael Morales is being targeted for February. That potential matchup has thrown the entire title picture into disarray. After witnessing what Makhachev did to Jack Della Maddalena, fans are deeply divided on what the UFC should do next. Many believe Islam should face a truly battle-tested wrestler such as Kamaru Usman or Shavkat Rakhmonov, someone capable of meeting him in high-level grappling exchanges. At the same time, there is little pushback against Michael Morales receiving the opportunity. Morales remains undefeated, carries serious knockout power, and represents a fresh threat at the top of the division. Where Carlos Prates struggles with public perception is his previous loss to Ian Gary, where he was clearly out-grappled. That performance still lingers in the minds of fans and has caused skepticism about whether Prates is truly ready to challenge a dominant champion like Makhachev. While his knockout of Edwards was impressive, some feel it may not be enough to justify an immediate title shot against an elite grappler. During the podcast, Prates confirmed that becoming champion is absolutely his goal. He explained that during fight week, he directly asked Dana White if a first-round knockout over Leon Edwards would guarantee him a title shot. According to Prates, Dana agreed. Unintentionally, that moment was captured on video because Prates was wearing meta glasses as part of a sponsorship. The footage was later posted and quickly spread across social media. Prates admitted he was initially worried the video might upset Dana White, as he had forgotten the glasses were recording at the time. However, the clip only added fuel to the debate surrounding the welterweight division. As it stands, the division feels completely unpredictable, and one official announcement could instantly flip the entire title picture overnight. Move on to another news. Ilia Tapuria continues to dominate headlines, and this time the attention isn't coming from the MMA world alone. Former WBC interim boxing champion Ryan Garcia sparked controversy during a recent Twitch stream with Adin Ross when the topic of a potential crossover fight with Tapuria was brought up. Garcia spoke bluntly, expressing full confidence that under boxing rules, he would have no trouble handling the UFC star. Garcia made it clear that he would only entertain the matchup in a boxing ring, confidently stated that he would dominate Tapuria, over the course of a 12-round bout and even predicted a knockout. He went as far as suggesting that Tapuria is currently out of competition due to personal issues, adding fuel to an already heated conversation. Tapuria didn't waste any time responding. During the same Spanish interview where he addressed Tsarukyan, the UFC champion fired back at Garcia's comments. Ilia immediately accepted the idea of a fight, emphasizing that he has never shied away from challenges and is always ready to compete, regardless of the opponent. MMA fans are well aware that Tapuria has teased a move to boxing for quite some time consistently, stating that he would consider crossing over once he captured 2 UFC belts. Now that he has achieved exactly that, the possibility of a boxing debut feels more realistic than ever. Naturally, both the MMA and boxing communities are watching the situation closely. Tapuria also used the moment to call out what he sees as a recurring trend among boxers. He expressed frustration with boxers repeatedly stepping into MMA conversation, criticizing mixed martial artists and downplaying their skill sets. According to Ilia, many MMA fighters have already proven themselves by stepping into boxing rings to test their abilities. However, he pointed out that very few boxers have ever attempted the reverse transition. Tapuria argued that boxers avoid MMA because they understand the risks involved and know they would struggle under those rules. Still, he made his stance clear. Anyone willing to step up and test themselves against him, whether in boxing or elsewhere, will find him ready and waiting. With tensions rising and both sides exchanging sharp words, the idea of a crossover showdown no longer feels like pure fantasy. Whether it materializes or not, the back and forth has already captured the attention of fight fans worldwide. Move on to another news. Brendan Allen has made his prediction for the highly anticipated middleweight matchup between Chimaev and Imavov, and he is firmly backing Chimaev to come out on top. While Allen acknowledges Imavov's speed and technical striking, he believes those strengths will not be enough to seriously threaten Chimaev. According to Allen, Imavov is a fast and sharp striker, but his punches lack the power needed to hurt someone as physically imposing as Chimaev. He expects Chimaev to weather the early exchanges on the feet before taking the fight to the ground, where he believes the contest will quickly swing in Chimaev's favor. Allen, who is coming off a shocking victory over Reinier de Ridder, where de Ridder was forced to stop between rounds due to exhaustion, also criticized the build-up surrounding the fight. He took issue with both camps repeatedly referencing the Dagestan and Chechnya connection, calling it a major mistake from a promotional standpoint. In Allen's view, leaning too heavily on that narrative risks making fans believe that fighters may hesitate or hold back, potentially hurting interest in the matchup. The bout was originally scheduled for February, but Imavov previously suggested that issues on Chimaev's side caused the fight to fall through. It has now been rescheduled for after Ramadan, likely taking place in April or May. Allen is confident that once the cage door closes, Chimaev will impose his will in a way few others can. Adding to his confidence, Allen pointed to the fact that Chimaev and Imavov have trained together in the past. According to leaked reports and statements Imavov himself has made, those sparring sessions were extremely one-sided and physically punishing. Allen believes those experiences further support the idea that Chimaev holds a clear advantage. When asked directly about Imavov's chances, Allen said he does believe Imavov has a path to success through his speed and striking. However, he reiterated that if Chimaev maintains solid defense on the feet, he should have no trouble closing the distance. Once the fight hits the ground, Allen expects Chimaev to control the action, force Imavov to work defensively, and ultimately secure the win through relentless pressure and dominance. While Allen anticipates a competitive fight early, his final prediction remains clear. Chimaev will find a way to take Imavov down, control the fight, and walk away victorious. Move on to another news. UFC 325 has taken an unexpected hit after a fighter officially pulled out of the event. Over the weekend, an update was shared confirming that lightweight Rongu Ju will no longer compete at UFC 325, where he was scheduled to face Quillan Sawkild next month. Ju announced the withdrawal himself, explaining that the decision was made due to a knee injury sustained during training. While initial speculation online suggested the injury could be serious, Ju clarified that the situation is not as severe as some reports claimed. However, after consulting with both his medical team and coaches, it was determined that competing would not be the right decision at this time. In a statement addressing fans, Ju explained that he suffered a minor knee injury during practical training sessions. He emphasized that although the injury is manageable, doctors have advised against high-intensity training while he undergoes treatment and rehabilitation. According to Ju, A few weeks of rest and recovery should resolve the issue without any long-term complications. Despite the injury being classified as minor, both his doctor and coaching staff strongly recommended that he not move forward with the fight. Zhu admitted the setback has been extremely frustrating, as it disrupts all the plans he had put in place for this matchup. Still, he acknowledged that injuries are an unfortunate and unavoidable part of the sport, and sometimes they are simply out of a fighter's control. At this time, there has been no official word from the UFC regarding a replacement opponent or whether the bout will be rescheduled for a later date. With UFC 325 approaching, the promotion is expected to act quickly to address the change to the card. Zhu also reassured fans that his focus is now on recovery and returning to full health as soon as possible. While missing UFC 325 is a disappointment, he remained optimistic about getting back into competition once cleared by his medical team. As the situation continues to develop, more updates are expected in the coming weeks regarding the fight card and Zhu's future plans inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Carlos Prates has begun outlining his plans for what comes next following his statement-making victory over former champion Leon Edwards. While a title shot remains his ultimate goal, Prates understands that the current welterweight landscape may delay that opportunity, prompting him to focus on other top contenders in the division. Speaking in a recent interview, Prates was asked where his win over Edwards places him in the welterweight title picture. He made it clear that fighting for the belt is what every contender wants, but he also acknowledged that the UFC appears to have other plans at the top of the division. With that in mind, Prates said he is targeting either Jack Della Maddalena or Michael Morales for his next fight. Prates explained that both matchups make sense for him at this stage of his career. Jack Della Maddalena continues to establish himself as one of the most dangerous strikers in the division, while Michael Morales remains undefeated and represents a rising threat among the division's elite. Facing either opponent would allow Prates to further solidify his position as a legitimate title contender. Rather than waiting on the sidelines, Prates emphasized his desire to stay active and face the best available competition. He believes a high-profile win over Della Maddalena or Morales would make it impossible for the UFC to deny him a future title opportunity. In other combat sports news, Real American Freestyle has announced a major matchup for its upcoming January 10 card. The promotion confirmed that Bo Nickel and Yoel Romero will clash for the light heavyweight championship. The announcement comes shortly after Romero captured the organization's inaugural light heavyweight title earlier this month with a win over Patrick Downey, with Prates looking to build momentum in the UFC and crossover wrestling events drawing increased attention. The combat sports landscape continues to deliver intriguing matchups across multiple disciplines. As the welterweight division remains crowded and unpredictable, Prates' next move could play a major role in shaping the title picture moving forward. Move on to another news. Ilia Topuria has once again taken aim at Arman Tsarukyan, delivering a sharp critique that makes it clear he has no interest in helping the lightweight contender move closer to a UFC title shot. Tsarukyan remains on the outside of the championship picture, and according to Tapuria, his own past decisions are the reason why. Since Tsarukyan withdrew at the last minute from a scheduled title fight against Islam Makhachev early this year, Tapuria has repeatedly questioned his reliability in interviews and on social media. That withdrawal ultimately cost Tsarukyan his opportunity to compete for the lightweight belt, while his dominant victory over Dan Hooker in November firmly placed him back into the title conversation. Tapuria remains unconvinced. Speaking recently with El Dober MMA, Tapuria was once again asked about Tsarukyan and did not hold back. He acknowledged that Arman is a talented fighter but argued that talent alone is not enough. According to Tapuria, Tsarukyan has already been given major opportunities and failed to follow through when it mattered most. He emphasized that all fighters deal with injuries, pain, and physical setbacks, yet still show up to compete. In his view, Tsarukyan made a choice not to, and only he knows what went through his mind at that moment. Tapuria then took a personal jab, suggesting that Tsarukyan's decision to withdraw reflected a lack of resolve under pressure. He followed that criticism by referencing Tsarukyan's controversial headbutt of Dan Hooker during their weigh-in ahead of the Qatar event. To Tapuria, that incident further highlighted poor judgment and a lack of professionalism. Speaking from what he described as a promoter's perspective, Tapuria explained that when the UFC heavily promotes a fighter, invests significant money, and places them on a major card, trust becomes crucial. When a fighter pulls out of a title opportunity and later risks another main event through reckless behavior, rebuilding that trust becomes extremely difficult. Tapuria went on to claim that the UFC shares his frustration, implying that Tsarukyan's actions have damaged his standing with the promotion. He concluded with a blunt dismissal, making it clear that as far as he is concerned, Tsarukyan's path back to a title shot remains uncertain and entirely self-inflicted. With tensions continuing to rise, the ongoing war of words has only added more fuel to an already volatile lightweight division. Move on to another news. According to a report from Marcel Dorf, Jose Enrique confirmed via Instagram that he is set to fight middleweight Eric Nolan at the UFC Fight Night event, scheduled for February 7 in Las Vegas. Enrique's journey to the UFC has been anything but straightforward. After suffering a stoppage loss on Dana White's Contender Series in 2022, he rebounded in impressive fashion, putting together a 4-fight winning streak to earn his spot on the roster. Now, he will look to build momentum inside the octagon against a motivated opponent. Eric Nolan enters the matchup seeking a bounce-back performance following a tough loss in his UFC debut. Nolan was stopped by Bisgar Siskav in August, snapping a 4-fight winning streak that had helped propel him to the promotion. The upcoming bout presents Nolan with a chance to re-establish himself and prove he belongs at the UFC level. In another update, Dorf also referenced a report from Al Zulino on X, which revealed that flyweights Bruno Silva and Loner Kavanagh are scheduled to meet at the UFC Fight Night event on March 14. Silva returned to the win column in October with a submission victory over Hyun Sung Park, snapping a brief skid that included losses to Manel Kape and current champion Joshua Van. Kavanagh, meanwhile, is coming off the first loss of his professional MMA career, having been stopped by Charles Johnson in August. Prior to that defeat, the English prospect had gone a perfect 9 for 9 as a professional. Outside the octagon, Carlos Prates recently made an appearance in Liverpool, England, which led to an unexpected and lighthearted encounter with hometown favorite Paddy Pimblett. The two fighters crossed paths outside the iconic Anfield Stadium, resulting in a friendly face-off that quickly caught the attention of fans online. As fight cards continue to take shape, and fighters remain active both in and out of competition, these updates highlight the constant movement and evolving storylines within the UFC.